everybody, welcome to Indigo Tarot Odyssey. I'm always inspired to come on camera when I look my craziest. So I was getting all my wigs and stuff out for Halloween. I was getting very excited and I started listening to this new speaker on YouTube and I got really inspired by her because her message was so beautiful. And I don't know about you guys, I mean, comment down below if you're feeling crazy emotional, like everything makes you want to cry. I mean, as goofy as I was being in my room laughing with the cats, trying on wigs, different makeup styles, and oh my god, I was looking like just crazy, and I was laughing, and then I heard certain words, so I stopped and I slowed down. I started listening to her and I was almost brought to tears. Now I'm going to try to gather my emotional self and not get over emotional about this, because a lot of you have been commenting too and DMing me, Melanie, I feel like all of a sudden these waves of emotion hit me and I just start crying. And some people are saying, wait, when they were beginning to message me, they'd start to cry. What's happening is we're trying to even out our frequencies. There's so much energy being poured in trying to elevate us, our frequency, our vibration, that what we're doing is it's almost like when you sweat, that we're sweating these emotions out. We're getting rid of them and they're so intense and they literally transport us to different places. I'm having all these childhood flashbacks that are hilarious and yet scary. I'm feeling my mother's presence more and more and more, and it's really crazy. And on the 27th, I will have been married 27 years. And I feel like the closer I approach this and I look at my wedding pictures and I see my father, who was feeling very unwell at the time with cancer, and my mother, who was hammered. And it was funny, we were all hammered and it was such a great day. And the more I approach this, so there's all these events coming up, Thanksgiving, Halloween, all these events where we have all these feelings and families getting together, and now where there's fractions and fissures and problems and we miss people from school and all of these things, it's almost like an iceberg where bits are slipping into the sea. We need to release those big chunks of ice that keep us heavy. You know, we're trying to stay buoyant, so just release it, feel it. If you feel like you have to cry, just cry. I felt so compelled to come right on camera and I'm like, oh my god, I have one of my costumes practically on, but I'm like, I don't care, because I feel when I'm really feeling something very strong and powerfully, I like to come face to face with the camera. And I know I don't do it often, and I'm going to try to come on live this week because I feel so connected to you guys, and I know everybody is trying. They are trying to relinquish all this old damaging energy, so all this freshness, this prosperity, this abundance, all this beauty can come in, and that is something that's going to be happening. So I wanted to be able to do a 3-card choice for you on camera with these. I feel mostly connected to Colette Baron Reid's teachings, understanding, and her prescriptive adherence as opposed to predictive. Yeah, I can see things very clearly a lot of the time, what's coming, times, dates, everything. But what I like to do is give people the tools and resources to deal with what's coming their way themselves. I have to do this as well. And the most clearest principle that I'm using this day is 1 hour at a time, one morning at a time, one afternoon at a time, so we can experience everything in the absolute presence, the richness of the presence, how things look, seem, feel, smell, taste, everything in its true nature and intensity, right? So we can experience it. Because there's a lot of really crazy elements at play here. So I'm just going to choose 3 right off the bottom of the deck for you to choose from. And these will be messages that are meant for you, because I feel like there's so much stuff floating around in like the ionosphere that's like, it's just smacking me in the face. And 1 minute I'm laughing, the next I'm like, I feel the intensity. And again, getting back to this reader, she was discussing that we all do have this life mission. And I felt like she was speaking directly to me. And she said, you know, people really listen to you, especially the people that feel lost and forgotten in the world. So if you were to go speak at homeless shelters, if you were to go speak at a boys and girls club, if you were to go speak where people thought they were just kind of whitewashed by society, put aside, it'd be very helpful. And I do realize that's one of my callings, and I do want to make time for this. And I almost started to cry because I thought there's nothing sadder than feeling invisible in this world, right? And so this is our time to let other people know they are visible, they're heard, we love them, and to bring them into the fold, because that's what the light worker community does. We let everybody know that we're that ear in the dark that will always listen, and with any capacity or resource we have. So I'm gonna let you guys know what your choices are. You have rescue for number 1. I love this. The bone collector for number 2. And dry desert for number 3. And they're just going to be brief messages. I was just dying to just come on air and say soul to soul, face to face, that I know all of you guys are trying, and I want to thank you so much for all your support and your beautiful comments. I love it. They make me laugh. They make me cry. They make me go mental, because I know. And until I reiterate the fact that life can be so simple when we make it that way, listen to anything that Jim Carrey is talking about these days. He's an absolute guru, and he knows. He hit it on the mark when he's like, we choose our suffering. We choose every day we wake up. What are we going to decide? What are we going to decide what we focus on? Our artistry, our joy, our creativity, our love, our family, this thing that we feel connected and loved, and, abiding by the law of, valor and chivalry and honesty and connectedness and all of that, our higher frequency? Or are we going to think, oh, doom and gloom and dread and competition, and I absolutely love and despise social media at the same time, because so many people are busy comparing themselves to these false realities on there. Of course they're depressed by that. Who doesn't want that ultimate tan body to be, in the Maldives in the sun constantly? But the reality is we wake up, we have to dress our children, get them to school, cook, clean, work through issues that our family may be having, medical issues that we may or our loved ones may be going through. It is the reality. So take that huge grain of salt in with everything you see on social media. That is them at their epitome, or a false picture of what's going on that's just beautified, okay? Like before, I came on camera with no makeup and my hair. I'm going to show you guys what my hair looks like later today on IG when I take this wig off. Come see me at Sparkest 11, because I swear to God, it's so scarecrow level because it's growing out, and I'm like, I can't be seen in public with this hair. I'm like, I either have to wear a wig all the time, or I just have to wear hats all the time because it looks crazy. Confucius say, don't do that no more. And even my son is like, Mom, put a hat on before we go to the bus stop in the morning. I'm like, this looks good. Oh yeah. All right, so we're going to start with number 1, which is rescue. I feel that if you read this, a really strong message that's coming through is we are our own rescuers. We are absolutely in our mindscape, in our landscape of our mind. We get to choose what we traverse. Are we honing in on what we're grateful for? Are we honing in for what we love? What brings us abundance? What makes us feel good? Are we out in nature? Are we near trees, lakes, water, beautiful, the scent of the ocean, those rich valuable assets that nature provides for us that we need all the time? I need to sit outside all the time and ground. When I just feel when I hear birds, it's healing for me immediately too. Whatever is in that beautiful natural chime of theirs. It's one of my totem animals, and I feel that. So that as well. Rescue yourself from any negativity by changing your thought, moving a muscle and changing a thought, and thinking, you know what, I have so much great things to look forward to. And if I'm having trouble focusing on what those things are, I'm going to make a list. It's as simple as that. I'm going to write it down. Today I'm going to work on this, a better diet plan so I feel better physically and mentally. How I present myself to the world. If I'm constantly in sweatpants and I feel grungy, dingy, or things always feel like a mess, or I'm eating in my car and there's stuff in there, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to have things neat in a little container. I'm going to try to finesse life a little bit, right? I feel like that when I clean my area near my altars and I get things all in order, I feel like with things a little finesse and polish and beauty, when we see that, we start to reflect that and we kind of elevate, our mood gets elevated, right? Do you ever go into Home Goods and you see all this stuff and you create a palace in your mind of your house, how you can have all this beautiful stuff and it can be all arranged all beautifully? Take the time and start to do that. Beautify your environment. I feel like it will rescue your mental senses and it will help you out a lot. I feel like this card, to unexpected visitors. You are going to have spirit and kindred spirits visiting you and helping you create your blueprint with ease so you can have follow through. So whatever you're putting down and you decide you want to do, you're going to be able to do that. All it takes is that first step. And it really is, because what happens is we can start to perfectionize it in our head. So then we elongate the process of even beginning it. And sometimes it just gets shelved. How many projects do you have shelved, right? I have that with so many pieces of jewelry and this and that. And when I finish them, I feel a sense of awesome completeness, because I'm not just throwing things in the air and willing them to land where they may. I have a say over where they land, how they land, and how they affect me. And so do you. So when these unexpected little miracles and visions and things that you see out there, they're pointing you the way, come up, follow them, listen, feel invigorated by the fact that these energies are there, and we can evoke them very simply by asking for them, looking, being aware. Again, the most important is being present in that moment, being aware, saying, I have the wherewithal to change and pivot at any time. If I'm with somebody I don't like in a relationship, pivot, change, good day to you, sir. If I am in a job I don't like, pivot, change, thank you. I prefer to be valued. I am not here to spend the majority of my day being devalued and working for money. The memories that we create are not memories of us checking and punching in and out and working. It's the things that we're creating and we're experiencing. And it's your time to experience. You know what I mean? This is not one of those the churning of the wheel slowly. This is you just bursting out and finding your true authentic self right now, and you rescuing yourself and your dreams by making that first fertile step forward into that land. So beautiful energy, group one. I love that for you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Melanie. Don't forget to press like and subscribe, and all my links are down below if you want a private read, whatever you want. Come over and see me on Instagram. I love when you guys ask me fun questions, you know, just about life issues. You're having some, you know, silliness, and it happens. We have family members, we have workmates, we have people that are mind-bogglingly ignorant, or, you know, they need antipsychotics. I don't even know how people operate on the level they do with all this anxiety and craziness and fear. And it's all about the ego, you know, how am I perceived, this and that. And people driving these big gas guzzling cars that they don't even know how to handle. It's crazy when you go out in the world. I would be hermetically sealed in my house if it were possible. I'm serious. But anyway, you guys, beautiful energy. You're understanding how to work with what you're given, and I really love that. So now we're going to go on to the bone collector. And this right now I feel is you're gauging and using ancient knowledge. It's coming back to you, the bone collector. Things that came before, things that have withered and blown away. It's a nostalgic time for you. And don't be fearful of it. Don't have fear that, you know, we're missing somebody. Every once in a while I miss the corporeal family, my mother, my father, and everybody, but I know they're always around me. And when I get nostalgic, I laugh, especially around, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and our funny Christmases. We always had crazy animals. We always had ferrets and pipples and Karen Terriers and cats. We had these French Lops, Rex and Regina, and they growled at you when you went to feed them, these French Loft rabbits. And I was like, where did we get all like the ideas to get all these animals? And how cool was my mother to just be like, you know what, we're Old McDonald had a farm now, let's just do this. And my dad was like, yeah, whatever. My stepmother was like, it's okay. He had a snake once, he had this boa constrictor. We had everything, you know what I mean? To go back to collect those bones. What is in our bones? What are our ancestors telling us, and how silly, wonderful, and verdant life can be when we let it be that way. And I feel like you're getting in touch with that. And, you know, you're setting really wonderful intentions for the future by listening. You're really listening to also not just what's being said by other people around you, but what's not being said. The silence, the quiet. You're gaining inner wisdom on where to go on your path. It's going to provide you with natural radiant energy, you know, earth grounding energy, things so you can perceive a future one step at a time, that you're not racing towards that. You're not feel like you're missing out on things. You're not going to have fear of missing out. You're not going to have fear of lack mentality of not having enough money, because that abundance is going to start to come in. I do this all the time. I envision it and I write it down. I say, thank you for sending me this amount of money this month. And, you know, I feel the abundance ball does get rolling, and it does manifest because you expect it. You're not fearful. And energy, when you think about it, everything is available already out there. There's already billions of dollars. There's already millions and gazillions jobs. There's already millions and bazillions of options. So when we tap into that, we start to focus and kind of get numbers and get a pathway and get a conduit to work through and set momentum, focus, and energy to that. It starts it right there. It's already becoming. So then when we know it's already becoming, we expect it. That energy starts to bring it towards us. Everything starts to work in alignment with what we really want, because we've already pinpointed and assessed what it is that we do want. And that's very helpful in the journey. So I feel like right now, your job and your messages right now are to really, really facilitate this change by identifying what it is. What do you want changed and what do you want coming in? Write it down, think about it, take your small steps to do that. Dietary, fitness, learning, changing your classes, starting to investigate new jobs that might be more purposeful for you, evaluating your friendships when you leave certain friends, which give you energy, which deplete it. Start to work with that and work away from the things that deplete towards things that lighten and brighten you. So I feel like that's going to be so healthy in the long term for you guys. Beautiful energy, group 2. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to press like and subscribe, and all my my Linkazoids are down below. I gotta stop watching Jeffree Star. He gets me so amped up. Like if I'm tired, his energy is so good and natural and he's so cute. And I know what it's like to always be dealing with cameras and lights and equipment and cars and all that and stuff. And it's like you go, go, go. And when you get ideas and you want to implement them right away, you can actually like creatively exhaust yourself. And I'm a whack job. I mean, I paint, I write, I make jewelry all the time. So my house is filled with supplies. And sometimes I'll just look at something and I'll start to just go on autopilot, move towards that. Oh, fix. I'm going to make some like a mad scientist. I'm like, yo, you got to do some dishes. You got to do this and that, you know, it's like, or time, that time thing. And every once in a while, I just have to remove myself from my house because all those creative activities, I can literally exhaust myself. So remember to, if you're a creative person, which I feel like a lot of you are, move away and spend time out in nature, away from all those things that are constantly calling to us, because we have to give our creative, brain a rest as well. You know, it definitely needs a rest. So now we're going to go on to number 3, which is dry desert. Again, I think this speaks to that dry desert. Get out in the desert, get away from what is always oversaturated, always over moisturized, always over inundated, and go out in the dry desert where you see the starkness. And this is where you start to optimize what is essential in your life. What do you really need and what's most important, right? First of all, do you have a roof over your head? How excited are you that you have a roof over your head? A lot of people can't say that. A car, a job, a family. It's amazing when you are out in the dry desert and you recognize, okay, what are the bare essentials in the desert? So you don't burn to death. It's shelter. You have that. You probably have access to water. You probably have at least one outfit, right? One cool wig. I was like, I just want wigs now. It's so crazy. Once you start looking at them and you see like the different varieties, I'm like, I could be wig crazy. The only thing about wigs, and you guys know they're all you YouTubers that change it up and do that, is wigs get extremely hot. Like I feel my crown chakra is always on super vibe. So when I cover it with something, and I learned this from Reiki healer too. You know, a lot of times I felt like I was protecting my empathic energy with hats. I wore hats my entire life. That was part of it. I didn't want all the didgeridoo constantly coming in, so I'd wear hats. But wigs feel like you have 2 or 3 hats on. It's weird, especially if it's a good, heavy, substantial wig. You legit feel like you have a rug on your head. So they're not for long term for sure. So I love this dry desert because it lets us have super clarity in what's important, because we're not surrounded by this abundance that we then want more. It's weird how more wants to attract more. You ever do that? You go on Amazon, you buy one thing, you're like, well, if I'm buying these vitamins, I'm pretty sure I need everything. I need skin vitamins, lip vitamins, hair, nail vitamins, you know, rooftop vitamins. Like you go crazy. So it's one of those things, remove yourself from that. And yes, I love this. I love this. I love this. Slow and steady. I'm constantly saying this every morning to myself, to my family, and to viewers. Listen, we're not in a race. I know when people go on social media, they're like, oh, that person has that. Oh, I got to hurry up. Dun, 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 dun. And you feel like it's a race. Life is not a race. In fact, it should be the opposite, where we put the brakes on completely. We look around us and we take in everything with all 5 senses right now. Right now, stop while you're doing this. Look around your environment where you are. Notice 5 things. This helps stop anxiety too. You physically look at 5 things. You touch 3 things. You taste 1 thing. You hear 2 things as close as you can. It grounds you out. Really look around and take up as many, many, many details of where you are in your environment right now. What is soothing to you? What is distracting? And if you have something that's distracting in a negative way, remove it if you can. Your work environment, your home environment, if it's a pile of laundry, do that. Get those things off the table, out of the way. Mine is filled garbage. I hate waste bins that are filled with, I don't care if it's paper, whatever it is, they start to wig me out. I'm like, empty that, get it out of there. I love empty containers because then I can fill them, right? It's creating a void. Same thing for the void in your mind. Create a void in your mind and slow things down and go, what do I want to fill my mind with? What important thoughts, adventures, and discoveries do I want to put in my mind? And start to fill your mind with that and be like, wow, you know what? I'd really love to go to a museum. That's hot on my thing. I'm going to do that for Friday. It's going to be my 27th wedding anniversary on the 27th. And I want to go to either the Guggenheim, the Met or something. Just sit there all day in quiet and just stare at art. That's my dreamiest of dreams, and I'm going to do it. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go by a lake or river? Do you want to go see a show, a play or something? Really fill your mind with that beautiful activity. Slow down. Get rid of the clutter so you can really identify what you want to do. Taking deep breaths along the way. We're such shallow breathers, and I feel like it's so unhealthy because that's where we get that fight or flight and that interrupted energy flow because we're not breathing properly. So breathe. Create a ritual for yourself each day so you can slow down and really enhance your life in every way possible, you know. Do silly things. I'm lucky. I have silly people and silly animals and silly things all around me all the time. But I also have things of beauty. I love my crystals, and I like to, you know, have things that have a little flourish and zany stuff to them because, you know, in comedic stuff, it's like it just makes things lighter and brighter. We don't have to take ourselves so seriously. We don't have to, definitely don't have to take the opinions of other people so seriously. Like one of my viewers this morning called me a nitwit. This dude, he's like, I go, introduce yourself to people at work or whatever. And he goes, it's called the Me Too movement, nitwit. And I'm like, I didn't say go up and grope some boobs, weirdo. You know what I mean? Like people jump. There are jumpers. They're jumping so fast to conclusions. It's absurd. So when people do that to you, I mean, I'm pretty bulletproof to that. I laugh because I understand. I've actually gotten to this point in my life and I'm scared. I understand psychological aspects so much that it's almost impossible for me to get mad at anybody because I know their viewpoint and I know where they're coming from. I know their fears. I know their instabilities. I know what's going on. And so I have compassion for it. And I'm so happy for that because there were times where I'm like, oh, you want to fight? You know what I mean? And I have pretty good arsenal of verbiage and I could rip somebody a new one big time, but I don't ever choose to do that because what do you win when you do that? I mean, yeah, you prove you can be masterful with words, but you've harmed another person. So when you get to that place where you're like, it's not important anymore. If somebody wants to lash out, let them lash out. Say, I gotta get going. Like be like that crazy Johnny Depp character, you know, in all those ship movies or whatever, you know. He seems out of his mind on drugs, but I love his attitude in that because nothing phases him because he's just on his own whacked out mission and he doesn't care. And that's when you don't care, you have a care. You know what I mean? You have a care with how you treat yourself. You don't take things personally. And I feel like that's going to be one of your breakthroughs too, where you're like, keep it moving, fool. This is, you know what? Be in your own circus. We don't have time for that. It's okay. Your light is shining so bright that you're not even noticing all these clowns out there. You're just doing what you do and you're doing it naturally and beautiful. And it's going to make you stronger and you're going to adhere to your principles and really have some amazing breakthroughs. So I'm very excited for your group 3. That is beautiful. It has been my pleasure to do this. I have to get this 50-ton wig off because I feel like the heat. It's really weird. It's really crazy. But I felt really inspired after hearing this listener just saying, you know, you're going to hear what your life path purpose is. You're going to be moved towards it. And, you know, it's not going to be life adjacent. It's going to be life replacement. And you're just going to be going right through there and accomplishing whatever you need to do. So I'm my own cameraman too. So I'm excited. I'm going to go upload. I'm my own cameraman.